So what exactly? So we're just gonna talk about like what are we gonna talk about?
We're going to talk about you.
Oh, oh, okay. I didn't realize it was like. Ah, okay, cool.
Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host. My name is Q. Now there's some people out there in the world who just have it. And they have like an it factor. Just everything about them glows and radiates. And that's the type of person that we have on the show today. And a matter of fact, I kind of get it too. I was in Atlanta with my wife at one of the Castier pop-ups, and she was talking to my wife, and my wife wanted a picture. You know, the wives always want the picture. And the person that we have today took the picture, and she was just gassing us up so much, like, oh, y'all look so good, woo, woo. And I understand it, like the glowingness just flows from this person's personality. So guest, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Liaa, or I go by Liaa. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet everyone.
Liaa, thank you for being on the show. And I want to just give you some compliments before we get into digging into your life, because like I said, you have like an it factor about you. There is you have a very strong presence in a very good way, like the way that you style yourself, the way that your whole demeanor and disposition. I've only been around you a few times, but it just shows. So, and I kind of want to get to know you in that aspect, because not everybody, and I would include myself, just has a real like draw towards style and, you know, framing themselves in a certain way. So yeah, and I also think like you've influenced my wife in a good way with on some fashion stuff.
That's so nice to hear. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, ain't nobody telling you.
Uh, um, so I really wasn't expecting to hear it like that. Of course, I've got a community of people that support me and encourage me. So it's not something that I don't hear, but it is like nice to hear it from people that you may not know too well, or just to know your impact on the outside. And meeting you and Kayla was like awesome at the pop up. Like we were really able to, I don't know, just connect and like vibe together, and that was really cool. And to hear that I have a good positive impact on someone in the fashion sense is like really nice. So that was nice. Thank you.
100%. So let's just talk about, we're talking about Liaa today. Now, usually on the Cool Hand podcast, we have, you know, people who make music, make clothes, do all sorts of stuff. Now, I don't know if you do any of the sort. Do you?
No, no, I
Okay.
just live, I guess. I don't know. I don't make I don't make things or like have brands or anything like that. Yeah, I don't.
Gotcha. So, okay. So I'm going to stick with the questions and things that I have prepared for you. So let's just take everybody back. And one more thing, the first time I interviewed Sonny, because I interviewed him a couple times. If you haven't seen that, everybody go check that out. We did one in person and one on Zoom, and I called him the king of Instagram stories. The Cool Hand podcast is now crowning Liaa as the queen of Instagram stories. And you and you have to have a certain, I'm not just throwing out, you know, titles to everybody, so we'll get into that as well. So Liaa, where are you from? Where did you grow up?
Okay, so I was born in Queens, New York, in 1999. So I'm end of the 90s babies. And then my parents got married, and then we moved to Scranton, PA. So I lived in Scranton, PA for like 7 years after that, when I was like about, how old was I? 7 when we moved. And we lived in Scranton, PA for 7 years, which was a different lifestyle than what I was used to. But I think I was able to adapt in a good way. And it was different for all of us. I think my parents' main goal in moving was like, we lived in the city our whole lives. They were both born and raised in Queens. They were like, we want a different experience. We want to experience something different. So they moved me, my 2 sisters, my younger brother. They moved all of us to, just Scranton. Yeah. And then we all lived there. for 7 years. And then we moved from there near Harrisburg, PA, which is like the capital of PA, which most people don't really know. They'd be thinking like Philly's the capital. It's actually Harrisburg. It's like this little dot in the middle. And we lived outside of the city. So very, very rural-ish. Very, we lived in a suburban area. More so, a lot more people, but it was just a rural area in general. And so that was impactful on my life. It was impactful. It helped me to be able to have range. So not only was I had that experience of being in the city for a short period of time, but then in a different environment in Scranton, PA, which is people, and it's a more rural. But then I moved to even more rural outside of Harrisburg, and we were there for another 7 years. Seems like every 7 years we moved. So we were there for another 7 years. We went to Jersey, South Jersey. We were there for a couple years, and now I'm in Delaware, Wilmington. So we usually tend to move because of my dad's job, which really influenced like where we went. But our last couple moves, Jersey and Delaware, is because we wanted to be in that kind of area. So you asked about where I was from, like where I went. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Your dad's pretty cool. I don't know your pops, but I saw that he was talking to Ice Cube. He was talking to Sinbad. He got Cube to say yay yay. So what does your dad do if you can disclose that?
Yeah. So my dad is the national correspondent for the National Newspaper Association. He's the White House correspondent for the National Newspaper Association. Gotta get that right. So he's a journalist. And he works for the NAPA, which spearhead, I believe, I'm hoping I say this right, they spearhead the Black press of America. So he's a reporter. He writes different articles that their portal is able to pull for different Black newspapers. So he writes various articles of current events and things that are going on. And then the Washington Informer might pick it up. I think that's what it's called. Like different Black-owned newspapers in different cities will use his articles. And then his title is the White House correspondent, because whenever anything happens as far as national news from the White House, they would contact him so that he can report on it for the NPA. So yeah, it's like it's a mouthful. So when people ask me, I'm like, well, but yeah, it's a cool job. It is not. I don't know anyone else. Never met anyone else that has that job. So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And so I think that just adds more to the range. What are some of the things that you learned growing up in these different areas?
Okay, so in the city, I'll just go in order. In the city, in the beginning, it was me and my mom. And then she met my dad. They fell in love. They got married. And so from learning that experience, I was able to learn the city life. Like, I don't know how to... I guess I'll get into more detail. So like, you're able to learn how to be on your toes, be aware. I was around family and people that helped me to be independent, be able to do things for myself. And then naturally, I've kind of always had a bossy-ish attitude. So I'm very, I don't know a nicer word to say that, but yes, that's what I know I'm bossy. I try to work on it. But yeah, bossy attitude. So I kind of knew how to do things, or like I had a younger cousin, so I'd be like, that was like my sidekick. Like we knew how to do things, we could take care of things, even at a really, really little age. So I'm talking like little things though, not big things. So I was able to learn how to kind of grow into an independent spirit, one that was responsible, and that helped just from being raised like in New York City or outside of New York City, that kind of thing. Being exposed to so many different people, cultures, food, music, all of that. So that was great from the city. And then you take that aspect and then you move to a more rural area than the city, to Scranton, PA. And there you're able to experience a much more quieter, in a way closed-minded sometimes, a calmer lifestyle, a calmer people, a people that may not be, you're not going to see what you see in New York and Scranton, PA. So it's going to be very different in personalities, in dress, in music, in food, but also enlightening. There was a lot of Italians in Scranton. I remember a lot of Italians at a big Italian festival. there was a lot of a lot of Irish people. Um, Grew my love for pierogies. I think that's Irish thing. No, maybe. Grew my love for
I
pierogies
don't know.
within a culture, from a culture there. So I grew my love for pierogies, food, music, um, just personalities, experiences, interacting with other humans, learning about how other people live, how they view things. That's a lot of things I took from there. And I took whatever I learned from there and moved to Harrisburg, PA, which is even more, again, secluded. But there, I think I was really able to, this is like more so my teenage years and the middle school teenage years, and I was able to take all the different people and experiences that I had met and knew, and then form them into who I wanted to be, and adapt that into that. And that was across the board: food, clothing, makeup, hair, music, everything. Also, personality-wise, what I wanted to be, who I wanted to be for people in my life, things like that. And so being in that even more calmer setting allowed me a place to really focus on that. It was a really good advantage when I think about it. I don't think I've ever thought about it in depth like that. So thank you for asking that. But it was a really good,
Sure.
Yeah, it was a good advantage to have that experience. And I met even more people that were able to show me how to adapt to life changes or changes and difficulties in a positive way. So when things go downhill, when things are uphill, just being able to adapt and still find joy in life, like in all aspects, big and little. So that was a big thing I think I learned from that. And then coming to Jersey, we made even more friends and family. And I think for Jersey, what would I say would be the biggest thing that I learned from Jersey? Just how to be comfortable. Sometimes it's hard to learn how to be comfortable with where you're at, what you have, what you got going on, what you don't got going on, where you want to be, where you don't want to be. So just growing my community, my family, growing our relationships with each other, growing my relationships with friends and community from Jersey, I was just able to learn how to be comfortable, how to learn how to be content. Still working on that, how to learn how to be adaptable, open-minded. So I think those are like, and now we're in Delaware, and we've been in Delaware for 2 years, so I don't have a full answer on Delaware yet, but I'm sure that'll come soon.
I want to spend some more time on Jersey, because when I think Jersey, I don't know. I'm not trying to fall into like the stereotype. I think ain't Jersey rough, depending on where you're at, like the
Depends on where
Trentons, the
you're
Newark.
at. So that's definitely North Jersey. I lived in South Jersey, beach area, like not
Okay.
near the beach, but everyone around us are beach goer people. They be like, they're the people that be like, are you going to the shore kind of thing, like very
Gotcha.
much laid back. There is no city down there. It's like small
Okay.
down there. Not much to do down there in South Jersey, but really, really, really good people that we were able to meet and create friendships with and add to our family, or add to my family. So, yeah, it was about people there. So.
Got you. Thank you for sharing. So, growing up in all of these places, moving around every now and then, what did you do for fun? You and your siblings, you and your parents. What did you do to occupy yourself?
So I'll talk about my parents first. We did not always have a lot growing up. There are times when family struggle, and we do know what struggle, not in a really like bad way, but just sometimes things go up and down. And so my parents were able to show us how to have the most fun, but you don't always have to have a lot to have the most fun. So like one of my best memories, all of like my siblings we would talk about, and I talk about with my mom, driving movies, the movie theater. That was like a huge thing for us. Like it was huge. There's five of us, 5 kids total, and then 4 of us that live with my parents. I have an older sister. She lives on the West Coast, but 4 of us all the time. Young, because my younger brother's 1 year younger than me, and then I have my 2 little sisters. So we're all young, but they made those experiences stick out for us. So when I look back at my childhood, going to the movies or doing that drive-in movie where you get in the back and you kind of lay down so that they don't see how many people are in the car. So when you go into the drive-in movie theater, you can only pay for one or two.
Yeah.
And you got the McDonald's sitting underneath the blanket in the back too, and you get to stop at McDonald's and get the double cheeseburgers, the $1 double cheeseburgers and the French fries, and go to the movies, drive-in movie. And the drive-in movie wasn't actually a drive-in movie. The drive-in movie was the DVD player in the car. And
okay.
We loved it. It was like cool. It was a great experience. That was a great experience. It was cool. That was one experience that my parents. What was the question you asked again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. Just what you guys did growing up.
Yes, what we did. So that's one example of what my parents would do. So little things like that. My mom was really big on having us outside, taking us to the park. There was a park, I know when we lived in Scranton, Liaa Park, we would be there all the time. There was a pool. She would take us out, do things. Also, we are Jehovah's Witnesses as our family, so we did a lot of spiritual activities. So we'd be in service, we'd be with the friends, different gatherings, different things like that. So we'd always be super, super involved with things to do, and we had to make things to do. So they did definitely do their best to make sure that, we would have things to do. And then it's also a matter of taking things into your own hands. So me and my siblings, we'd go in that backyard and we would play for hours just doing stuff like making mud pies and like playing in the backyard and acting like we're in movies and acting out things. And we would just have to find things to do, especially during the summertime. That was a lot. Having to find things to do, that was a lot of the summertime. That's what me and my siblings did. And then as we got older, we did a lot of music as a family. Music is a huge thing in my family. My parents are very diverse with their music taste. And so they definitely passed that on to us, exposed us to so many different kinds of music. And we would perform. We'd perform in the house. We'd sing, we would dance, we would put things together. My dad definitely thought we were the Jackson 5. We would do the whole thing. We would do the whole thing. And that led to us actually being able to take that at-home performancing and put it on a real stage. So for the city of Scranton, my dad conducted the Motown show for the whole city. And so then we were able to perform and be a part of that. So that was something that we did as a family, like a big thing. What else? Just little things. Just making sure that you romanticize your life is what they call it now. But really, it's making the best of what you got. So you go into the park, don't just go to the park. Get a picnic basket, get some flowers, put a little blanket, make it cute. Make some good food that you're going to want to eat. Bring the food, enjoy the outside, enjoy the quality time together. Those are things that we did growing up. And then as we got older with my siblings, just keep doing the same thing. Being able to drive and stuff now and all that kind of thing so we can go where you want. Yeah.
So you still sing?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I don't always I still sing.
Because I'm hearing your voice. I'm like, she got a singer's voice.
My mom is a singer. My mom performed and sang and stuff. I have done little things. I did a talent show twice. I performed at my sister's wedding. And I feel like there's other things that I've done that I can't remember at the moment. Not really big things, but my sister's wedding is probably the biggest. But I've had no training or anything like that, just for fun. Performances in big groups of people make me nervous. I will force myself to do it, but the nervousness kind of puts I don't know how they say it, a rabbit in your throat or whatever they say in your throat. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you put that out there. So that's interesting. I'm not gonna push the envelope with the singing thing, but I don't know. One of these days, I'm gonna have to. One of these little gatherings we might find ourselves at. I don't know. I might. You just
might experience it. You might catch me on a good day. Where I'm like, hey, let's see what this is giving. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna start singing, and I can't sing. So
see, and then I'll have to join along. Everybody's gonna have to join along. So I feel like that might be the way to go. Yeah.
All right. Noted. So you mentioned music, and we talk about music a lot on the Cool Hand podcast. And if you follow Liaa on Instagram, she has what's it called? Memories, something. Anyway, on the Instagram stories, you have seen Willow Smith, Tame Impala, Usher, Larry June, Alchemist, Beyonce, DJ Sets, Craig David with your mom, Stephanie Mills. I think Travis Barker. You've seen a lot of jazz, Jill Scott. Alicia Keys, Yachty, Ken Carson, Zach Fox. So you are making the best of your time. And that's just to name some. I know there's a lot more shows that you've been to and are going. So what were you listening to when you were growing up?
So like I said, my parents have very diverse taste. So most of my oldies and like that old school R&B, that 70s, 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s, came from my dad all the time. That's his era. That's his music that he loves. That would include the rock aspect, the R&B aspect, not as much as the jazz. I kind of fell into that on my own, but yeah, not so much jazz. None of my parents are jazzy people, but yeah, the rock, the R&B, the Motown, all of that kind of stuff that came from my dad. And then from my mom came the 90s, the core of the R&B, the 90s, a little bit of hip hop, my techno-ish stuff that I love, like techno and different beats, and I can't think of the genre name right now that they would call it, but like electronic music, things like that. Then from my parents, kind of taken on to my own way, me and my siblings listen to the radio. Like we had like this old broken radio that we would listen to whenever we'd be outside doing whatever, or playing whatever, making movies and all, like doing different things, creating games and stuff like that. We would listen to this old broken radio, and it just played the pop stuff at that time. So that put me onto pop era. And I have a very big love for pop. The Lady Gaga era, very strong era. Not the Kesha era. It's a very big era for me. So that's how I got into that. And then jazz. I got into jazz because we moved to near Harrisburg, PA, in Carlisle. There was a radio station at night, and every night they would play jazz at like 7 o'clock. Jazz would come on. And when I would get ready for bed, this is me in like middle school, and I would get ready for bed, and I put that jazz on as a part of my little wind down, before I go to bed and stuff. And it was funny because I shared a room with my two sisters, and I feel like they hated it, but like I really loved it. And I was like, you got to experience some different kind of music. And I would be playing that jazz and just fell in love with the calmness that it brings you, the way that it makes you feel. The fact that you don't need words to experience emotion when it comes to music. The fact that it can make you happier. It can make you say, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be there. And it has a great impact. That's how I fell in love with jazz. And then I fell in love with different jazz songs and artists that way. And then also being exposed to other people who loved it as well. So that's where jazz came into play. What else? And then I also when I got into high school, I really got into hip hop, a lot more hip hop and rap. So I started, my uncle actually put me on J. Cole. I started there, so I was a J. Cole girly. And from there, I went Nas. Listened to Nas for a long time. I had like a little obsession period of listening to like this like hot, like 90s hip hop. Really listened to that. Yeah. So I kind of delved into different artists like that for a little bit. And then I got into, mainstream stuff. I was into A$AP Mob. I was into, I don't know. It just kept jumping with the times, The songs everybody everybody knew them, so you listen to them. And then, just different, as music evolved into trap, as things evolved into alternative, which is like my favorite category now. Alternative, which mixes so many different things. I was able, when I got older, it became more of that. So not just, when I was younger, it was more so like in my teenage years, what am I listening to that is applicable to where I'm at? So I would listen to, like I said, more hip hop. I was into J. Cole, I was into Kendrick, I was into all that. And then, life moves on and you go into other things. So your music follows you. So then I became into alternative, things that have something to say. things that are saying, especially expressing like what's going on with you in that moment. I was just talking to my friend London about this, my best friend London. I was like, I love when a song tells a story and I literally know that story, like I'm living it, you know? So that's kind of where I'm at now. It's like I listen to music that does that for me. And then no words music, really big on no words music. It calms you. It just creates a good vibe. And then on the other end of that, I'm into like very, very alternative, very alternative rock kind of music, but more so like alternative. So like, yes, Ken Carson is one of my favorite artists. I don't really know where it came from, but a couple years ago, well, my sister Paris, she's 18 now, going about to be 18. She put me on to some underground. She put me on to BK LaRuler, some underground rap or hip hop, and I was like, this is hard. So from that, I went and dived into other stuff, and that's when I found Ken. A real strong love for that one. So I just bought him recently. Oh my gosh, just I don't know what it is. It's the sound, it's the meshing of like so many different genres, rock, R&B. It's just like a hip hop. It's just like a really good mesh. So that's kind of where I'm at. Kind of all over the place.
Yeah, no, that's okay. You said you dropped some good knowledge, because Ken Carson, I don't know how like I got into him. I think one of the homies on like Instagram was posting him a lot. I'm like, let me check this little young boy out. And now I don't like Destroy Lonely like that. I haven't gotten into that.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into that. I'm not into that. I'm not into like the autumn. I'm not into like I'm not into that kind of thing.
But Ken Carson got it. He got it.
Yeah, he got it.
And I find it interesting, like being in 5th grade or middle school and having like a wind down session.
Yeah. I realized as I got older that I have always gotten overstimulated. So, but I always put a lot on my plate. Like, I can be very honest. I'm a person that usually I'm running like 1 to 3 minutes late. I'm trying to be better. I really am. But usually I'm running 1 to 3 minutes late because I did a whole bunch of stuff in a short period of time. So I tend to overstimulate myself. And then I realized, especially during the pandemic, that was a big one. During the pandemic, my parents got sick, and it was just a lot was overwhelming. Not like just to have to deal with all that was going on. Everybody was going through it during the pandemic. But I created my calming playlist, and I realized I was like, this is why when I was in 5th grade, I was listening to this, because I was overstimulated and it calmed me down and made me feel good. So I think that's where that stems from. I didn't know it then, but I know it now.
Thank you for sharing. It's good. There's like a transition period that I feel most people make. And I feel like I think I went through this transition period with music when I was like 18, 19. And you experience this at a younger age where you find music without words that just may be instrumentals or jazz or, some sort of alternative. And you find like you kind of discover something new. And it's like, wow, this really feels good. For you to be able to experience that at a young age, I think is pretty cool, because even for myself, I started listening to like indie alternative music in my late teens. But as for jazz, I didn't really get into jazz till I was like maybe 22, and it was like Kamasi Washington. And I remember seeing him. I was dating Kayla at the time, and I've told this story on the podcast before, but for the sake of this one, I remember I had my arms around Kayla. We're listening. He's just going off on the saxophone. And I'm like, I felt like I was ascending. Like I closed my eyes. I just felt like we were floating.
It's that point. It's like everybody has that experience, that one experience that really does it for you. And that's emotional and it's passionate. Like it's just in such a beautiful way. Like you're able to connect that. And then, I love that feeling.
Yeah.
That was a good story. Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, you were very multifaceted. Now, let's talk about style. Let's talk about your fashion sense. I I don't know where to start with this. Did you always have like sort of a drawing toward fashion and style?
Yes. When I was younger, um, when I was in elementary school and middle school, I wore uniforms. But like, uniforms are whack because why do I have to look like everybody else? To this day, that's one of my things I always be saying. I don't want to look like everybody else. I was little and I was like, how do I tweak this? How do I change this? How do I make this mine? What can I do? And so that really forced me to open up a creative mind when it came to fashion. So then from there, it was a short period of time where I was drawing. Like I would draw things. Like I would draw outfits, I would draw dresses. Never did anything with them. Never like actually put forth doing it kind of thing. Like sewing stuff. I hate sewing. Like I really hate sewing. I hate making stuff. But I had the idea, so I'd be like, maybe one day, like if I get somebody that can sew or somebody can do something, they can do it for me, you know. But it went from drawing to then just thrifting. Huge thing was thrifting. Middle school, high school, me and my friend, I had like my best friend at the time, we would thrift. Like her family was a big thrifting family. They showed us how to do it, showed us how to do Goodwill bins, showed us how to find good stuff. And that really tests your mind. It makes you think. It brings out the creative in you because you're like, all right, here's this scarf. But this scarf is not just a scarf. This scarf is a shirt. It's a belt. It's an accessory on a bag. This scarf you can put in your hair. This scarf you can wear as a head wrap. It opens your mind to so many different things you can do. So that's like middle school, high school. And then I'm taking that with becoming an adult and realizing what it is that just going through different phases in life and how I want to present myself. And I think you never stop struggling with that. I feel like you never stop. Like I'm going to go through 30 and 40 and 50 and it's going to change. It's going to evolve. It's going to adapt, but that's going to be awesome because at that time, whatever I'm going to wear to express myself is going to be different. It's just going to be different than what I would do when I was 20. But because I took that knowledge of being able to take something and turn it into many different things, I'm excited to see what that looks like. So when it comes to style, I think I've always had that. But then now, currently, the opportunity to expand on that. And so I think I'm really not good when it comes to, when people say fashion, the first thing they think is like brands, like brands, like designer brands, things like that. I'm really not big on the knowledge of that. Like I can't look at something and be like, oh, those are the Gucci boots or those are the Prada, whatever, if they don't have a label on them. So I don't really know too much. I feel like I should maybe educate myself on things. But for the most part, it's what I see, what I like, how it looks, if I like it, the different fabrics, the different textures, how it looks on me. And then I think as far as knowing how to dress for your body type is a big thing. And so my mom and the women I had around me in my life, all throughout my life, have helped me to be able to find pieces that are going to look the best on me because of my body shape and then also body size. So it does matter. You want to make sure that you are presenting yourself in the best way. And so you want to make sure that you're choosing pieces that are going to not only make you feel, not only make you look good, but then also make you feel good. And yeah.
Thank you. No, that was good. Because I did want to ask about dressing for your body type. Now, I'm gonna, because I think you do this like very well already. Finding clothes for a woman is already difficult, and to find something that flatters your body, your physique, that makes you look like the best version of yourself, I would imagine it's even harder. So, kind of, you did touch on it, because you said your mom and the women in your life helped you with that. But tell me about when you're shopping, when you're finding something, how difficult is it? What's the process for finding pieces to suit your body type?
Okay. So the first thing that I do, generally speaking, I get inspiration from everywhere and everything. from being out and about and seeing somebody wearing a piece. Like it's usually not their whole outfit. Like usually it's a piece. It's like, oh, I like that shoe. And that shoe would actually match this skirt that I have. And that would actually match this. So that's where I first get my inspiration from, either like somebody or social media or my friends or something around me. So I get inspiration from that. And then I say, now how do I flip this or use this and make it my own? Because there's nothing better. Nobody can duplicate when you do it. Nobody can duplicate it. When it has your flair on it, when it's got your style on it, they can't duplicate that. That's your own. That's your imprint. And so that's when I started thinking, okay, so now how can I make this Liaa's? How do I do that? So then I find... So then I have to look and see how I'm going to make it work for me. And for the most part, for a minute there, I was sticking to the same silhouette. I think a silhouette is very important. Once you find your silhouette, what you like, and you know every single time you're going to feel good in it, every single time it's going to look good on you. Once you find that, it's easy to put pieces together. But then after a while, you can get bored with that because it is the same thing over and over. So for a minute, and even to this day, I still wear it. I'm wearing it right now. Like my silhouette is like a wide leg pant. Love a wide leg pant. It's going to be, you can dress it up, you can dress it down. It's always going to look good for my body type. It's going to be comfortable. And I can either do a cropped one or a really long one. And then, so then figuring out what kind of silhouette I want to do. Okay. So then once I figure out what kind of silhouette I want to do, what'll look best, then it's just a matter of trying stuff on. And I know my friends can attest to it. My parents can attest to it. If I can't sleep, you will hear pitter, 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 patter all throughout my room because I be trying on outfits. I will spend hours throwing stuff together, putting stuff together. I'm throwing the music on, and now I'm doing what I love to do. And I'm putting fits together, seeing how they look, seeing how they work. So it is a process. So like, I used to be a lot more anal with it. Like if I knew I was going somewhere, I'd be like, okay, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna wear. How do I want to feel? Like all those things. It's like when you're first starting and it's really important to you, yes. But now it's like, okay, I'm going somewhere. I know I want to be comfortable. I know what looks good on me. Let's see what I haven't worn yet. Let's see what I can throw together. Let's go to my bookmarks on Instagram, the outfits that I got saved, see where I can draw inspo from. Let's run a Pinterest. Let's look at TikTok. Let's find things that maybe are new or use something I already have to make something new. And so that is the process. I think that was your question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You answered that. You answered that beautifully. So, this is like a stacked topic because you can find different pieces, the wide, the baggy or wide leg jeans and things like that and shirts. But how about dresses and skirts? What is that process like? Because it's hard to be modest in today's world, definitely with what is presented in stores, online, so on and so forth.
Yes. I still very much struggle with this. I very much struggle with wanting to pop out in something I know is going to eat, right? It's going to eat down. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, this is going to look good. And then saying like, okay, it'll look good, but like, how is it presenting myself? Like, how am I presenting myself? Am I being modest in this? And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be honest. There are times I don't be making good decisions. There are times that I need to make better decisions. I am trying to train my mindset so that I don't have to always ask myself that. And it's just like, I choose the right thing each time. But it can be hard because stuff be eaten down. Like you be seeing, I use different people as influence. So like, I love JT's fashion. Like when she really be eating down, she be eating down. When she do like a dress or a gown or she did a photo shoot and she did like these tuxedo pants and like this shirt. When her stylist put the fits together, I'd be like, oh, that's bomb. And then I'd be like, okay, but if I wear that, how is it presenting myself? So it's very hard. And then when it comes to skirts and dresses, I'd be bored with them. So I have to figure out a way to make it not boring. And so layering has been my best friend last couple of years. And when I say layering, I don't mean layering clothes. I mean layering accessories onto things. So I have like one outfit on my page where it's like the pleated gray skirt. It's like a pleated gray skirt. It became very trendy. Love a pleated gray skirt. It's A-line. It's going to be great. So it's going to be modest. It's not going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be able to walk. You're going to be able to run in it. And then I was like, this is so boring. How do I make it not boring? So then I go to my mom's closet, because sometimes you just got to do that. And I go to my mom's closet and I'm like, all right, you got a belt. You got belts. What accessories do you have? Because you may not always be able to fit the clothing of your friends and family around you, but you can always take a bag, a purse, with some shades. Right. You can always take something to make it yours. So I was like, let me see this little belt. And it's like a belt with these like leather fringes on it. Period. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that around the skirt. And I was like, now this eats. So then it added an element of something different, like a flare. So then when you walk, and then I had a pair of leather heels. Oh my gosh, the heels broken. I'm so sad about them. They were like these like pointy toe stilettos. They were really comfortable too. And they were a short stiletto, not the long stiletto, because like I prefer a short stiletto in the front, or not stiletto, of the point. So I don't like when like the point is super duper long. Yeah, when the point's shorter. So it's a short point, and it had like a leather piece going this way. Half of it was a leather piece, and the other half was like bedazzled, like a black bedazzle. Oh, they were so cute. So I was like, I have a leather piece on this shoe that's going to match the leather belt, fringe belt. And then I was like, I don't want my top to just be black or simple. Like I want it to be something interesting. So then I had this sweater with like these wide, these arms that are kind of like these arms, like they're wide, but it was like wide from the shoulder. So it kind of moved like when I walked, and I was like, oh, this is cute. And I put it all on. And then I have to have the right hair. I be switching my hair up left and right. I have to have the right hair. I did a little fro with it. And I was like, this eats down. This does eat down. And the joy that be bringing me when I get it, when I get something together, I be like, yes. And then you wear it. You be like, and I'm wearing it, and I'm doing the daggone thing. And that's kind of that process. I'd be real happy with that. So it's just taking something simple. A basic is great. But if you really want to elevate, personalize, and put your stamp on it, you got to think outside the box and just start throwing stuff on. Just start throwing it on. If it don't work, take it off, throw something else on. If that don't work, try this. If the texture's off because this texture looks like that, just keep trying it. And then eventually you're going to get something. And sometimes you don't. And I get frustrated and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to bed. And then all the clothes are everywhere in my room and I'm sleeping on thousands of clothes. But it's all right because you'll come back to it and you'll figure something out. So that's kind of how that worked with skirts and dresses and
Okay. Thank you for sharing. It takes a lot. Like that's the thing. We always see the output of these things. We see the output on your Instagram, you know, what you're wearing and everything, but we don't know the input. I remember when we did see you in Atlanta, you had this crazy cardigan on. This cardigan was so hard, like the little fuzzy joint, dog. You still got that?
I do, and I'm trying to figure out how I can rewear it this fall because, okay, so I stocked this cardigan on ASOS. The cardigan's from ASOS. It was like $30. Stocked this cardigan on ASOS for like weeks because I was like, all right, I know what colors I want to wear because I had a pair of wallabies. I had these orange checkered wallabies, and I was like, how am I going to, I don't want to do something boring. Like, I don't want to just put an orange sweater on. How am I going to make this funky? This sweater was like, it was purple, and then it had the orange. I said, oh, this is fire. It's giving Missy Elliott crossed over to cardigan. I don't know. I was like, I love it. Yeah. So, yeah, that I love that sweater. That was a big statement piece. Yes. I gotta bring that back.
Yeah. I had to throw that in there. So you mentioned something very important, which I feel like people today are putting more priority in, which is accessorizing. So you talked about your mom and the women around you showing you how to dress for your body type, but you know, you can have the flyest clothes on, appeasing to the body, but still missing an umph. So where did you learn to accessorize? Who helped you with that, or how did you kind of get into that?
I'm gonna be honest. My mom does not leave the house without a pair of earrings on. My mom, she's not a big, and I think that simple statement says a lot because she's not a big bracelet wearer, necklace wearer. She doesn't really do all that kind of thing. She got her her wedding bands, her anniversary bands dripped out. She got that on, but she's never gonna leave the house without a pair of earrings on. She's never gonna leave. I think makeup is also an accessory, so she's never gonna leave the house without some lipstick on and some lip gloss. That accessory. She's never gonna leave the house without that. So that was the base. Mm-hmm. That was the base. It's like I always had on a pair of earrings. I always had a pair of earrings on, maybe a necklace, maybe a bracelet sometime. And then also just looking at social media. I'm not gonna hold you. Social media was the big thing. And I think it impacted this aspect in a really positive way. Because I was like, sometimes when you are, especially in those environments, like in Carlisle or in Scranton, PA, outside of here, things like that, you can feel like, dang, maybe I look a little flashy. Like maybe I'm doing a little too much. Girl, a bracelet ain't hurting you. Your outfit needs a bracelet. Your outfit needs a necklace. It needs like it needs something. Like you gotta add something to make it pop. It needs that. And so they're not being afraid to add something, because let's be real, accessories catch your eye. Silver, gold, and then if you have like any glitz or glimmer accessories, it's gonna not only enhance skin, enhance your presence. If you got brown skin, it helps you glow. Like it's not only gonna do that, but it's also just gonna make people look like they're gonna draw their attention to different spaces. So like if you have rings on, if you have necklaces on, if you have earrings on, whatever, it's going to bring attention to where you want attention to be brought to different places. If you got a nice watch kind of thing. So it can really create an element. And then when you back up and you look at the whole thing of it, you're like, yeah, it's not too much. Like all together, it looks good. So I think social media really had a big impact on that. Knowing the base of always have a pair of earrings on, always look like you got up and actually did something. That base, and then just being able to be exposed to social media, not being afraid to start wearing things in a more rural area, and then having the money and the platform to be able to buy different accessories, because that comes into play a lot. People act like, oh, you don't have to. No, it do come into play sometimes, like when you want something, specific. And then also thrifting, because you can go to the thrift store and you can see jewelry and pieces that you have never seen, and you'd be like, this is crazy.
Right. From
rings, bracelets, brooches, necklaces, things that you can put on your tie, like things that men can put on their ties, different belts, a whole bunch of stuff. There's things that people will be using that I still don't know about. Like I recently learned about like these claspers, like that older women had when they would do like the scarves. It was like a little clasper. So like you hook it and then it hooks the scarf in. Yes. Never knew that. We don't be wearing scarves like that now. But I was like, oh my gosh, that's cute. You can use that a different way. So yeah, just exposing myself in that way to where how you can wear things and how you can accessorize.
That's what's up. Thank you for saying that. And you made me remember one point that I have. And I've mentioned this with other guests. I feel like throughout all the people that I talk to who I view as creative and the ones who have brands, a lot of the foundation of their creativity came from thrifting. When you're not, like, for myself, and this is how I know I'm not a creative person, no disrespect to myself, but when I was growing up, and I was born in 93. So by the time I'm in like third grade, the big tall tees, basketball jerseys flipped to the back. Like I wanted, I wanted to look like the rappers. I didn't want to be different. I wanted to look like the rappers. And so the things that were presented to you were the things that I gravitated toward. And, but my wife, on the other hand, she grew up thrifting and she's a creative person. So, although you don't run a clothing brand and do all this other stuff, you have the creative gene. And something else that you said that I thought you would be good at. Now, I'm not saying go do it, but I'm not saying don't go do it. But you could probably like put somebody on some like fashion stuff. Like if you styled somebody, I think there's some people who can style others, and just by everything that you said in your responses, I think you would be good at it. Actually, I know you would be good at it. What I'm talking about.
I appreciate the compliment. I do have like I mentioned, my community before. They always be saying it. And they'd be like, I do have one of my best friends, Naja. She was like, "No, I want you to do it." She's like, "You're gonna start with me," and she was my first client. Um, and she was like, "Here's the amount of money that I'm working with. Let's go." The challenge with her was, and she really made the challenge, because we had to go to the mall. I don't do the mall often, but she was like, yeah. I'm not a fan of the mall. So we went into the mall. We went into H&M, and she was like, "Now, please, like, help me create a capsule." And we created a capsule for her. And the capsule, I wish I had, I should make like a portfolio or something. I don't know if I'm really going to get into it. But the capsule laid down, and there are pieces that you mix and match. And she loved it. And it was, her husband loved it too. He was like, "This is different." Like, she gave me the feedback back that it was different. And she was like, "I feel good in this. Like, I feel good in this. This is different. I feel a different feeling." And so I would definitely be open to other people who ask me. And I don't think that it would be something that I would charge for at first. Like, I wouldn't do anything like that. But maybe one day I could make it into a business, especially if I really like it. I'm a firm believer in, if it's a hobby, I don't want to make money off of it. I know everybody be like, make money off your hobby, but I feel like sometimes I can take the joy away from it, and I don't want that to be. But yeah. I have done the styling aspect before, and I do love it. It was nice. It was awesome.
Okay. Now, I would imagine women would be harder to style than men, just because. No? But no, hold on, because I'm gonna push back on this, because women have different features that you see these pants, and then her butt's too big, or they might be too busty for this, and then you have to go back to the drawing board. That is the only thing that I would think would be difficult for styling a woman.
Gender really plays a big role. So as a woman, I already subconsciously know how to style a woman. Like, gotcha. I know how to think about those things. When it comes to men, and I have had friends, or like even helping my mom to like help style my dad, it's just more difficult. Like, some people, so, okay, for example, like I have a friend, and like I have like, asked about like, okay, how would you care about wearing this or wearing that, or accessorizing? They don't like wearing accessories. They don't like how it feels on their skin. What is that? That's weird, right? And to me, I've never had a woman come to me and say, women aren't even like that. Like, you're literally, as a woman, we are an accessory. We are the accessory. We are always the glitz and the glam. And when it comes to, that's just the way it is. That's the way we carry, just the gender carries. I hope I'm saying that right. I hope I'm coming across the right way when I say that. But you're the accessory, so you already accessorize. You already know you're born to know what a pair of earrings is. You're born to know the necklace or those things like that. Men are just very different. And then all they got is pants for the most part. Really, for the most part, most men are only comfortable with like pants. You can have a couple that you meet and you'd be like, oh, okay, like you might get into a little skirt, or might do a little layer or something, right? Or like maybe just like a long trench or a tunic, and add some spice it up to your look. But most men are not used to that. And then also, I think when it comes to fashion, men really are not always allotted a space to be creative in that aspect, or to have a safe space where they can feel like they can express themselves in that aspect without being judged in a negative way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you may want to try something, but you may not want somebody to say, your homeboy, to be like, oh, that look like, I don't know, just different things. Like, oh, that look gay. Or like, oh,
yeah.
With that. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that was the first thing I thought.
That was the first thing that came to mind. I was like, do I want to? Yeah, no, that's how it be. Or like, oh, you're trying to look like this, and you're trying to look like that. Because for men, it's not as open of a platform as it is for women to be into fashion and style, I think, personally.
Yeah.
So yeah, men are harder. They're just harder to style. You got to get them like open up their mind to different types of clothing, different cultures of clothing. Yeah.
That's, that's interesting. And that opens up like kind of like a new dialogue for the platform, and even a question I can ask some of our men who come on the platform, because when you say that, there's a lot of things like me personally, I don't want nobody like if I'm out and I'm like super like dressed up, I don't want nobody thinking it's sweet personally. And like, you know, or even
Right.
if
I get
I'm
it.
by myself, you see me hop out. Now I don't got no nice car, but you see me
Right.
hopping out looking, you know, looking a certain way at the gas station and you might think you could
Mhm.
try something. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So like
See, y'all be
that's a
thinking that.
very
I've never thought that before. Like, I think men also
yeah.
just think differently. Like, they be thinking about that. And I never think how I just be like, oh, this fit eats. I don't know. I guess that's just, I'm literally just a girl, you know, just a girl.
But at the end of the day, even when I say that out loud, at the end of the day, like you could be wearing something. If it ain't sweet, just let them know it ain't sweet. So, you
Right.
know,
Right.
don't
Yep.
get knocked out by, you know, a dude wearing straight up pink and you know what I mean, crop
Yeah.
top. I don't know. So
Yeah. And I think
so
like I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, go ahead, please.
Oh, I was just gonna say I think that our generation and where we have come in fashion and especially with social media has really like helped us to be more open-minded. So on social media, you seeing it, it's right there. So it's not like, oh my god, I ain't never seen that before. When you go outside and see it, it's right there. As far as fashion is concerned, so like I know like my mom would have never put my dad in some pink 10 years ago, but now I think he's got like a she would entertain a light salmon suit. And light salmon on brown people, especially brown, it eat down. Little light salmon, little cream shirt, it's giving very summery vibes, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you gotta expand. And it takes time for you know, men to have that platform to be able to do that. But I think we're moving into even a better space for that.
Yeah, I do agree. I even say that about music. I always say, like in my, you know, growing up when I was young, it was just if you're young and black and you're a male, you're listening to rap. You're,
Yeah,
you know, yeah. And I always feel bad about this. I'll never stop apologizing on the Cool Hand podcast. Marquise Washington, I made fun of him for listening to the Black Eyed Peas because, we, you know what I mean? Like they still weren't 50 Cent. They weren't Nelly. They weren't Ludacris.
right.
They
I
were
get
doing
it.
something else. And
But
I
see,
always
he knew
feel
good
bad.
music. He knew good music.
Exactly. So, but even now, those things are more accepted when it comes to music, when it comes to, you know, fashion and style. So, let's, there's a couple more things I want to ask you about, because, and I'm getting more hip to this as I've been married. If I wasn't married to Kayla, I wouldn't ask about this. Nails.
Oh, yeah, I don't got my nails done right now. Usually I do. I'm taking a break for a week.
Yeah, that's okay. That stuff hurts. And, you know, just hearing, you know, Kayla talk about it, one broke and like it kind of messed up. Yeah. So,
yeah.
So let's talk about like the nail fashion. And if there's any women watching, I'm extremely ignorant. So, you know, I'm gonna give you the floor, because I know nails are such a big thing. There's the pictures, you know, the sisters, they got their nails, you know. So, can you talk about, you know, your nails and things like that?
So nails are an accessory. You accessorize how you want. They add flair to your outfit. I'm fortunate because my sister Paris, she is a nail tech, self-taught nail tech, and so my nail tech lives with me, and that is the coolest thing that most people do not have. That my nail tech does live with me, and she's very open to doing a whole bunch of different things creatively. She's super talented. Nail page is Sky's Nail Bar, Skies.nailbar on Instagram. Check her out. But yeah, my nail tech is at home, and we can bounce ideas off of each other. I can see something, and I'll be like, okay, I want to like try this, but I want to add my own little flair to it. And so it's really important, like when you want to try to get into nails, depending on what you want it to look like, you got to have a creative person. So you got to have a person that is good at it. It's important to have a good nail tech that'll work with you and that can do what you want, what you look for. That's hard to find. So I really did very fortunate for that. But yeah, and then just seeing what's gonna work somehow. And I always think about this, but somehow I usually get my nails done. I usually keep my nails done, but I always have like an event in mind. So for example, next week Next weekend, me and my best friends are going to see Kitchener. I know how I want my nails to be. I want it to give that vibe. But then it's like subconsciously, because they're on you, like they're always on you, and you kind of always looking at them. I feel like the colors that you be looking at, you be like picking that more, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's like if I have like a fall set, I kind of gravitate more for that couple weeks to like fally colors, because I'm trying to like, figure out what's going to work with this or work with that. So it's a big accessory. It's a really big accessory, and it's a great way for you to be able to express yourself. And then you can get into like texture, and you can get into 3D art. And the piercing. I love a pierced nail, like a nail that has like the little hoop on the end. Yes, bringing that back for fall time. Love that. Especially if you do like a simple set. I can't even remember the name of the acrylic right now, but it is the name of it's called Bad and Bougie. It's this acrylic powder. It's like the perfect pink for my brown tone skin. It's called Bad and Bougie. And if I want my extra long set, get that Bad and Bougie with a little piercing on the end. The little piercing be dangling when it's a great accessory. Great accessory. But yeah.
Okay, so check out Paris. I'm gonna put the nail bar when in post-production. So if you're in the Delaware area, Delaware ain't too far from Philly, ain't too far. Are you far from Jersey?
Nope, she does. Delaware, New Jersey, Philly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Delaware, New Jersey, Philly. Y'all really got to tap in, because come on, dog. Y'all.
And the prices are really, really good. Prices are good. Check it out.
Yep. And for the price, and this is the thing, I don't even know Paris like that. I don't even know if I ever saw her a day in my life, but I just know from talking to Liaa and seeing Liaa's nails, because I got a video, by the way, that I'm working on from when I saw you in Atlanta. It's just taking too long.
Oh yeah.
But just from seeing her nails, I know that it's quality. You're going to get what you pay for, and throw in a tip. So just a couple more things. What advice would you give someone who wanted to make their style kind of pop some more, but maybe a little bit reluctant, doesn't know where to start? What would you say to them?
I think the first thing that I would say would be find out what your base is. Find out what your core is. Find out what around you motivates you. Find out what you already do, what you're already comfortable with. And then see what you're not comfortable with, what you're a little apprehensive to do, what you're a little apprehensive to try. And just slowly start meshing the two. Just slowly start. Start with one thing. So let's say you want to get more into wearing color. Just choose one color. Maybe you have like a simple black and white outfit. Black and white's your thing. That's cool. Don't want like a colored belt. Don't want a colored pair of shoes. Make sure that your nails are a color. Add some color to the outfit. Get a color bag. Take little baby steps. But you're going to have to be uncomfortable for a minute if you want to grow. At first, you're going to be like, I don't know about this. Don't think so much about what everybody else is going to say about it or how they're going to feel about it. Focus first on how you're feeling about it. Make sure that you're being true to yourself, which is why you need that base. Focus on how you're feeling about it, how it makes you feel. And then, I don't know about other people, but how my friends care, like how my friends view me, how they care about me, how my family views me, it's important to me. And that also comes in my fits. And I'll be trying fits on, and I'll be like going downstairs and showing my mom, does this make sense? Does this look right? I go in my sister's room in a heartbeat. Are these textures clashing? Get that second opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with using your community. Use the people around you. As long as they're good people and they're not, as long as it's good people that are open-minded fashion-wise, if that's what you're trying to delve into something new. It can be hard. So to say don't be afraid is hard, because you're going to be afraid. You're going to be afraid. You're going to be scared. You're going to be like, I don't really know if this will be too much. I don't know how they're going to react to this. But just be uncomfortable for a minute, and then you're going to get comfortable, because all it takes is how you feel about it. But then for that one person to be like, that's good. Like, that looks good. That looks different. Those compliments matter. Like, it does matter. So compliment your friends. Be there for your friends. And then they'll be there for you, so that you can be uncomfortable, be in a good space about it.
Beautiful. Is there anything else? I feel like I got a good idea of your story, but is there anything else? I know you didn't know what to expect coming into this,
No, no,
but
no.
I always leave a window open for people to just say anything that they might have wanted to talk about or give a shout out or anything like that. The floor is absolutely yours.
Something that maybe I didn't touch on. I guess one thing that I did want to touch on, and I kind of lost track, when you were saying like having to find for your body type and body size. So I know I am plus size. That makes it a little difficult. Not even a little. That makes it difficult to find clothing that looks good. It can be hard. Like you go in the store and what they got on the plus size side is not what they're going to have on the regular size side. So you're going to have to, if you are like me, and you're in that same boat, you're going to have to think outside the box. You're going to have to put forth a little bit more effort, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. So I guess that's one point. Also, something that I've recently come into, I saw a video of one of my favorite fashion influencers, Sydney Moonlight on Instagram. I love her. She did a video on TikTok and she was just like, I guess attesting to what I already said. Sometimes, you know, if depending on how you want to feel, think about how you want to feel what you're wearing. Sometimes you want to feel casual. You want to feel fun. What you're wearing may not always be flattering to you. Like flattering on you. Like if, as a woman, if you wear like an oversized shirt, people be like, oh, you look, you know, you're wearing oversized. Like you want to make sure that it's not swallowing you and things like that. But if you do it right, if you add a little flair, if you maybe do things a little differently, like if you have something oversized, make sure that something on the bottom is fitting or just the opposite way, you can still do it. So like don't, people's opinions, like the people around your opinions, I think you can use it in a really good way, but also don't allow it to overbear how you're thinking about something. You want to try the oversized, the layered look, try it, go into it, see how it works. Just because something may not be super like very flattering on you initially or to like a regular person doesn't mean that it won't look good. Yes. Is there anything else? I don't think so. I think that's it.
Well, thank you. Oh, go ahead. Yes.
I do get a lot of questions. People be like, you shaved your hair. Hair grows back. Hair grows back. Today I will have a shaved head. Next week I'll have a wig. Experiment if you want to experiment. It's all right. And it's also okay if people know you're wearing a wig. I promise you, you still gonna look cute. Like it's all right. You still gonna look good. Own what you got, own what you're wearing. Don't be afraid to dive into something new. That's the overall message, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where can you find a good wig?
Okay, so I know like the vibes right now is being a human hair baddie. Human hair baddie, always is gonna eat, right? Human hair money, that's something different. You want a good quality human hair? Okay, it's very something different. There's a lot of different pages online. I am a synthetic shawty, meaning that I love synthetic wigs. I don't have to curl it. If it gets wet, it's not gonna drop. I could just like I can have so many different ones of them. The price range from like $15 to $70. Mm-hmm. I can afford that. I can get a new one every month. I can afford that. So that's where I be at mostly. So if you're looking just to experiment, it's a good way to start experimenting. Outre, who else? Outre, Bobby Boss, and Sensational. Those are like 3 brands that are synthetic brands, and they make really, really good wigs now, especially now with like pre-plucked lace, and they already got baby hairs, and they already pre-cut and all that.
Wow.
You can find some good, cheap options that way. And then once you figure out what you like, then you can dive into the human hair aspect. But that I leave to people who really like to do hair, because obviously I don't like shit.
The shaved head looks good, and I love the color. That was a personal question. We were talking the other day. Kayla was like, maybe I should just get a wig, woo for the winter and stuff like that. Yeah. And like she wanted like a decent wig, like not like a. So that's like, you know, it's an interview question, but also personal.
Yeah, for sure. know if she has any. I can send her some stuff. Like if she just lets me know what she wants it to look like, what some vibe she's kind of going for. I can send her some things that or some pieces that I have tried personally that work well. So, yeah.
So you consultation services. So you're good at what you do, Liaa. Thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. It's always nice to talk to people who are just different from myself. Like I say, I don't think I'm the most creative person. So to hear your story, to hear other people's stories, it adds to what I can change. It gives me inspiration. So you've inspired at least 2 people, and they both live here. So thank you for being on the show. Oh, sure. We appreciate you. And this is the Instagram story queen, by the way, y'all. Yes. Do you want to put your Instagram out there?
Yeah, for sure. My Instagram is Liaa J Brown. Liaa with 2 A's. Liaa Brown. So,
tap in. You're going to see good food, good drink, good music, and a family-loving woman. So this is the Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Easy.